to show you how to get into the Bose Ohm MR-228 speakers. Issue is a while ago there was a knocking noise, a rattling sound. I thought I'd blown the driver. Turned out to be a centre bullet waveguide in a tweeter. So I glued them back in, went all the tweeters, all four of them. And those tweeters are sounding pretty coarse. Anyway, so I've ordered some new ones from Ohm. They still had them, amazingly. These must be, I don't know how old they are, we'll see in a minute. So getting the front off, I hope you'll be able to see this. Is to get under the edge of the foam. Here, you'll see when I remove it, and lever. Now when I did it before, I slightly damaged the edge here, so I'm using this time a screwdriver. Watch out, some of them seem to have screws. You'll see when I remove it. So check around the edges, just under the foam. The originals, the foam's completely rotten. It has Ohm on it. This is a new foam that I bought and stuck on. Be careful how you stick it as well, because obviously you want the sound to come through, so don't use glue that covers everything. So I put, let's see if I can get this going here. I want to find a place that feels good. Put that there to protect the edge, and let's see. Yep, it's looking good, he says. Come on, a bit further. I think we'll come in there. Aye. Change of implement. Got to be a bit careful, don't put a hole through the speaker tone. There we go. So I don't know if you can see. Ease that one out. There's a slot there on either side. A slot there and a slot there. And this, I'm hoping you can see this. Oh, a bit of foliage from the garden. This is curved metal. You can run them without the foam, but be careful when you put the. I hope you can see. Put the glue on that you don't block all these, because obviously you want the sound to go through. You can run them without the foam. It's the bare metal. Doesn't look so good, I thought, so I bought this foam and stuck it on. So that's that part. This other bit of foam here, I can remove now, I put on because these tweezers, I found them a bit fierce. Could be because they were broken, could be because they're getting old, they are old, or could have been because they're not very good, or a combination of all three. So I'm getting rid of this now because I'm not going to use it with the new tweezers. I can get rid of it. These Ohm speakers, I'm lucky, I've got cloth surround and they seem fine. The earlier ones had foam surround, which are all rotten by now, so you'd have to take these drivers out and replace the foam. It can be done, all that bit, it's a bit of a faff, or get someone to do it, or I think you can buy the current ones and fit them in as a direct replacement, I think, as a direct replacement. So to get these out, I'm going to go in through the top. Okay, going and taking these out, they seem to screw straight into the flange. So there are no bolts on the back, so I don't have to worry about those dropping in and losing them. Obviously, don't put a screwdriver through the cone. There, I'm left-handed. I should be doing this the other way around because I'm left-handed, but I've become, hopefully. Wow, magnets are powerful. Checking that there doesn't have to be a particular orientation, not that I can see. And the black is a negative, not surprisingly. There's the old, and there's the new. Obviously a slightly different design from the outside anyway. Plate looks much the same. Same manufacturer. So I hope that the new ones are possibly better quality. This, let's just stand up, hope you can see this, was the issue. In here, well, you can't see because there's no light, that was loose, actually fallen out. And I glued it, don't know if it was this one, I glued the ones where they were loose back in, a little bullet thing, which obviously wasn't a very good sign. So things often don't go quite according to plan, and these tabs don't fit on the new driver, they're too small. I'm looking to see if I could force them, but I think the answer is no. So the options are to cut these off and solder onto there. These have lasted 20 years, so these probably would. Obviously soldering is going to be very secure, very good connection. Or to cut these off and fit the next size up. So I'm going to have a look and see if I've got the next size up. About these need to be crimped on, or we can solder them onto there, probably solder them onto there. I mean, it's not the end of the world, is it, at all? But it's going to delay things a fair bit. Amazingly, within 5 minutes I found my box of these kind of bits from heaven knows how many years ago, and even more amazingly, it fits quite snug, so I've got enough of them. Really though, if you want to do a proper job, there's no point to put everything back in it, it doesn't work, you don't want that. So really, I think I need to solder the wire, I need to cut that off, tin the wire, and solder the wires onto these larger crimps. I don't know what material they are. I've decided to fit the new tabs on each. There's 8 of them, 4 there and 4 on the other speaker. So here's what I'm doing, opening them up a little and using this file to clean inside, because I'm going to put solder in there to tin them. Then the idea will be to put the wire will be tinned. The wire will be tinned as well. So I'm going to put the wire through there, heat them so the solder flows, crimp them. These are designed just to be crimped, squeezed with the wire in there. But I'm thinking I don't want to go back in here again. There's vibration and stuff. If you haven't crimped it quite enough, or the metal, only problems. So solder is the way. So I guess I'll do one of the speakers tonight, and then dismantle and do the other one. Here's what I'm doing. I might have to put the cat in the other room, because cats and hot soldering irons tend not to go too well together. So I'm going to heat this side. I don't know if you can see. Just going to transfer a little bit of solder on there. It seems to help the heat transfer. And then on the underside, don't start moving. Let's see if, there we go. Flow a little bit of solder in there, because that's where I'm going to put the wire. And I've tinned the wire as well, then I can heat it and put some more solder, and it'll be soldered on, then clamp it. Afterwards I'm using this month's copy of Guitarist to stop dropping things inside the speakers. I'll do both really, can't see any reason why not. Having a quick think, can't see no reason at all. It says, famous last words, that's that one. So you do that, that's that one. Get a feel for it, you don't want to cut through the wire, you don't want to cut through your finger either. Here we go. I always pull the length with my teeth, or shouldn't do really, because it's lead solder. Shouldn't really put it in your mouth, I suppose. So that's that. It's going to clamp it. Or is it crimp? And the other side. One done. Something else to watch out for, let me zoom out a bit, is that these are quite a tight fit. I've done them, the two here, I've soldered them on, but trying to get them on there, to get them securely on, is quite a tight fit. And obviously if you're wiggling about, that this is on some kind of a board and these metal parts are soldered with a wire through there, you can, if you snap that, which can be done, if you're forcing it, you're in trouble. You've ruined one of them. So what I'm doing here, I've done it with this the lead wire, red wire. Luckily, in my box of tricks, I had the male counterpart here, so I was using it to. That one's better, yeah, because that works. He says. You want it to be tight. You don't want the thing wobbling off with vibration. You can't get it off now. Don't want it falling without. Let's try this one. The other one was tight as well. So I'll show you what. So I've got a pair of pliers on there, and yeah, it doesn't want to go. It's too much pressure. So I'm hoping that with the other pair of pliers on this one, I can. See, you wouldn't want to be doing that on the speaker. There it is. And my solderings are sufficient. There you go. And hopefully, brown is positive. Come on. There we go. Firm but sweet. You can do it. And that one as well. So one done. The plot thickens. In trying to get this into the hole there, it's quite tricky. I wiggled it in, and you can see what's happened. This plate has detached there. It's meant to be like that. It fits in. Looks like it's glued, so I have to re-glue that. And if you can see, I don't know if it'll focus, to re-glue that, because that plate obviously holds the whole thing, and they're quite heavy. So when you're putting them on the ground, so you want to make sure that's secure, otherwise the whole thing's going to wobble around. So I'm going to re-glue that. So I had to get one of the other drivers. There's 4 of them. Re-glue that, leave it overnight, and work with one of the others. But that snapped away rather more willingly than I would have liked. Don't know if you can see this, don't know if it'll focus, but here's the insides. You can see there's very little room there between the 2 tweeters, so there's a bit of fiddling around. You can see the magnesium cast frames. Don't know if they're magnesium, they're alloy anyway. 2 of them. Port is down underneath, below. There's a foam inside. Crossover, 24th of 3rd 98, signed. I've tightened the screws up on the crossover, everything whilst I'm in there. I'm going to vacuum gently in there as well, make sure there's nothing loose. The tweeters are working. They're a bit difficult to tell the difference between the new and the old. But the new are working. A bit ridiculous trying to put the camera there, but you can hear the obviously they're working. It was the wickedest sound, then in the club. The old one, I'm thinking a bit better about the expense of buying the new one. I'm going to have to wait till a gig, I guess, to tell whether they're a bit smoother. They're different design, they're very similar, but different. The screws on the new ones are different, the shape of this is slightly different, even though it's much the same at first glance, with the back plate's different. So you wonder, how can something be so similar, but different, if you know what I'm saying, if they redesign them, which they must have done, because all the parts are different. I don't know, hopefully the insides are better as well. But, I mean, look at this. So I'm feeling better about having replaced them anyway, because if they're, that's obviously no good. Don't know what it is, I don't know if it's gone all the way through, it's a coating that's flaking off, but it's going to be doing that pretty much everywhere, not those bits in there and stuff. And heaven knows what the diaphragm's like inside there. So I'm thinking anyway, no, it's not money wasted. If they don't sound any better, it would be nice if they did. But if they don't, obviously these, and this fell out before, a couple of them had to stick it back in. So really, so there we go. So I'm going to get on with the other one and eat. Slight distraction here, bit of eye candy. A G&L Legacy from Mr. Fender, 92. Leaning up against a 1980 Fender 75. Valve amp's got a 15-inch speaker in the back, which just had a new Celestion Fallout 15-inch fitted. They're the tweeters. Come to them in a minute. Rear view. And the 15-inch Celestion Fallout. Quite a new speaker, I think 2015, sounds lovely. The one that was in there, the original one from 1980, the Fender one, never sounded very good actually, and kind of fell apart, came unglued on the cone. Had an Eminence Big Ben in there, wasn't very happy with it, but this one done the job. So to these, there they are. And the good news is that the new tweeters sound better. Haven't gigged them yet, but I've done some testing and they're sweeter at the top and seem to be more extended. I don't know if it's because they're a different design or simply because these had it. Maybe it's both. So success. They're all back together. They're all waiting to go. I don't know what to do with these. I might ring Ohm and see. Seems there's huge magnets on the back. It doesn't feel quite right to just sort of throw them in the bin. So I'll ring them and see if you can recycle them somehow. It'd be a real shame if you couldn't. But I could send them back to Poland. The manufacturer's Polish. But I don't know how much that would cost. Job done.